What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports. We appreciate you for stopping through here today. Let me move my little live button up there. There we go. All right, guys, we are live. We are here on Mike Drop Sports for another day talking football with all of you guys. I appreciate it. Again, if you would like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers continuing to add to the practice squad depth. I know a lot of people play it off, including Mike Tomlin in his weekly press conference about the additions on practice squad and what that means. And I know he plays it off, but he's going to play it off. That's just the way it is. He doesn't really want to show his hand with players he's excited about, not at all. But you got to be excited about depth, man. Depth is the key, and withstanding injury in this league is absolutely paramount in order for you to be successful as a ball club moving forward. A lot of teams understand that because they are dealing with those significant injuries, and especially in today's NFL, where injury is super prevalent because of the lack of contact, because of the lack of practice time, because of the way things are so limited in terms of these players. And the theory behind it is to protect these players. And in reality, I believe that they're not protecting them. I believe that they're setting them up for catastrophic injury a lot of the times because of the lack of contact, the lack of participation during the week in terms of practice reps and things of that nature are so limited. So we're going to dive into all of that and continue to discuss those players that have been brought in and maybe some potential players that are going to be brought in for the practice squad or perhaps maybe be elevated into a role for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward here this season in 2025. And maybe some of these guys could actually really pay big dividends for the Steelers moving forward. Because I tell you guys all the time, and it's true, and I'm sick of hearing myself say it, depth, depth, depth. You have to be able to withstand injury in this particular day and age of this league. Injuries are just so prevalent. And if you're not out there being proactive, adding to your practice squad, adding players that you can go in and dip into if needed, you are screwing yourself as a football team. You have to be very active in building your practice squad here in 2025. Let's get to the chat. Good to see you, Daniel Warman, in the house. Hey, buddy, who would you like on the Steelers, Beanie Bishop or Darius Slay? Thank God they didn't sign Von Bell. I'd rather have Darius Slay. Beanie Bishop is a definite guy I've always liked, just because I hope that he can develop. I always like young guys. I'm always rooting for those young guys. But Darius Slay is a veteran, yeah, and you know you just you don't find that everywhere. I know his issues as of late. We've talked about those significantly, but if I'm picking between the two, it's Slay for sure. But we'll talk about one cornerback option that might be a possibility here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, let me catch up in the chat. My Floyd is Pink 79. I like how last year, when the Chiefs were winning by a touchdown or a few points, no one batted an eye, but the Steelers do it and we're considered a middle of the road team. Yeah, and that's just the perspective of how people view the franchises. You're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs that had just come off how many Super Bowls appearances or wins in a row, always in the conversation. And then you're talking about a Pittsburgh Steelers team that hasn't won a playoff game in a decade. So that's where you get that comparison. My Floyd is Pink 79. That's why they're considered a little bit different than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's why you're getting that different point of view from a lot of people in the national media stage. Devin Burkett, the more Thursday night games and short weeks also leads to far more injuries. Games every 4 days is crazy. I agree. I agree. I believe that's a significant variable, Devin, and I hate the Thursday night games. Yeah, the back end of the Thursday night games are great because you get a little bit of a mini bye, but in general, when you're talking about the overall health of a football club, uh, Thursday night games suck. Asante Samuel Jr. is visiting the Steelers. What do you think about that if we did sign him? That's exactly what I was going to talk about. Top free agent cornerback to visit the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers are his last stop, Asante Samuel Jr. Guys, let's talk about Asante Samuel Jr., though. This isn't just something that you're doing willy-nilly if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, there's potential there, but this guy hasn't seen a full season of football since 2023. He underwent spinal fusion surgery. Let that sink into you a little bit, especially a superior athlete like Asante Samuel Jr. or an NFL football player in general. Spinal fusion surgery is a very, very, very difficult surgery in order for you to come back and be an effective National Football League player. We got to be real clear about that. He was just cleared last week to play football again. And how that works out, I do not know. Maybe the Steelers are able to bring him in. If they do sign him, great. There is tremendous upside there, but we got to understand, too, he's limited in size, 5'10", 180 pounds soaking wet. Yeah, he had 2 interceptions, 63 total tackles, and 13 pass defenses. And he's played in 50 games, and he started 47 of those games as a professional athlete in the football league we call the NFL. So, what would be the win here for the Steelers? It's a low cost, low real risk, possibly high return type reward. Would I be okay with it? Absolutely. And it would be cool to continue to add pieces, like I continue to say, to that practice squad. And that's where you'd have to put him. Practice squad. You're not going to elevate him right away into the 53. You're not going to do those types of things right away with a guy coming off a fusion spinal surgery. It's just not going to be something that you're looking to do right away. You're going to have to really see how this guy works out. They're going to have to work him out pretty hard tomorrow when he comes into the building, set to visit the Steelers. That'll be his last visit. But hey, hopefully for him, he is in immaculate shape. Hopefully he comes into the building and wows the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then you got to take into consideration the contact variable, guys, that we just talked about. These guys are very limited in contact to begin with. Then you bring this guy off of a spinal fusion surgery, and then you're going to be really, really concerned with any type of compression injury, any type of injury in terms of being a hitter back there. Yeah, he's a cornerback. You're not going to expect him to go and blow people up all the time. But significant contact happens with those guys. Sometimes the running back breaks out to the edge, i.e., a Derrick Henry, and you're going to have to stop him, and you're going to have to get low, and you're going to have to get that shoulder into him. And your concern would be what? A compression injury to that spinal cord due to the fusion of those spinal inside the spinal column, inside of the spinal discs. And you got to understand the spine. You're talking about the vertebrae, and you're talking about there's like cushion in between each of those vertebrae. And when you fuse those together, you're basically eliminating the cushion, the recoil of that spine for that player. And now you're putting those two pieces. Hopefully that's just what it was two vertebrae that were fused together. I'm not sure. And where were those vertebrae fused? You talk about the upper neck, the upper part of your spinal column, your C3, 4, and 5. Those are your cervical spine. Those vertebrae in the C3, 4, and 5 area all hold significant value there. Well, were those the vertebrae that were fused? I don't know. That's going to limit your neck motion and movement. Why? Because it's in your cervical spine. Then you have your thoracic spine. Then you have your lumbar down low. Where was that spine fused? I'm not sure exactly. But when you're talking about your cervical spine, your C3s, 4s, and 5s, you have a catastrophic injury to that area after a significant spinal fusion. You could knock out your respiratory drive to breathe, and that would put that young man on a ventilator for the rest of his life. So I'm just telling you, there's significant weight involved here in terms of the injury factor for Asante Samuel Jr. I fear for him, but the doctors hopefully know best, and I'm sure he's got a great team of doctors there. But in my limited medical knowledge as a person that works in the medical field, I can tell you, cervical spine injuries, especially, are very, very dangerous. You look at Peyton Manning and what he had to do, go and get stem cell transplants into that particular area, and his neck was never right again. You could see that in the way he moves, the way he throws, the way his posture is. You can just see how bad of a toll that was in terms of his playing and his life moving forward as just a regular Joe. These are very significant injuries, and time will tell, and things will be very, very interesting to see with Asante Samuel Jr. But once a very talented young man, and would I like to have that Asante Samuel Jr. added to the fold? Absolutely. But am I willing to risk, a guy's health for the future? I don't know if I'm the Steelers. I mean, I would really have to have Doc Bradley really take a great, great look at him and see and test the mobility and things of that nature because as a cornerback, what are you relying on to, guys? And I know I'm going on and on and on about this, but this is very important. And I know fans just hear the name Asante Samuel Jr. and are like, yeah, do it. But when you're a cornerback and you're playing at a high level, twitchy corners, man, you want twitchy. They got to be able to get their head around. They got to be able to twitch. They got to be able to snap reflex, man, and move fast and rapidly. They have to be able to have good movements to be able to get in there and pass defend and break those passes up. They have to be able to what? Jump, guys. And when you jump, what happens to your spine? It compresses, correct? When you pull down, that spine gets that gravity, that pressure, and it pulls down on your spine, and then you're jumping back up. So a lot of variables at play here with Asante Samuel Jr. And I hope I explained that well enough for you guys as Steeler fans, as NFL fans in general, if your team perhaps ever takes a look at him, if you're not a Steeler fan in here tonight. Be sure and be cautious, man, because it could definitely hurt this young man moving forward just in life, and money ain't worth it. Money's just not worth it. Money's not everything, man. And I don't want to see a young man in a wheelchair, but again, I don't know the significance of that injury. Mark Malone says, looking thin on corners. I haven't seen the injury report this week, so yeah, I think though they have more corners than safeties there at one point. But again, I didn't do my due diligence on the injury report that I know came out the beginning of the week injury report as the Steelers got back to work today on the south side of Pittsburgh to go and chase this big victory that they're trying to get against the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that's a very good football team that has its own deficiencies and injuries to deal with. But the Steelers going into this game at 5-3 really, really need this game, guys. When you're looking at this stretch's games right here, these Chargers, Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills, the Steelers got to come out of this 2-1. And I don't get into the must wins all the time, but right now 2-1 has to be the reality. It has to come to fruition here. 2-1 is where they need to be. Because that would put you at 7-4. That's a very good record, and you have the Baltimore Ravens who are picking back up steam a little bit here. Also, they made acquisitions, I do believe, during the trade deadline and things of that nature. But what have you? We'll get into Baltimore when we play Baltimore. But again, this stretch, man, is going to be very important because after Buffalo, after that Buffalo game, and I forgot Chicago's in there too. So we'll say the Chargers, Cincinnati, and Chicago. That 3-game series, I need to see a 7-4 football team at the very least. I would prefer to see 8-3. That's what I would prefer to see. But reality sets in for me that this is the NFL and every team is good. So I'd be happy with 7-4. I think that would be respectable. And then you're looking at Buffalo, Baltimore back to back. And those are going to be two very 50-50 type games, regardless of Baltimore's record against the Steelers. Regardless against Baltimore's record this year. Those games are always 50-50 games because they're divisional games. And that's why I say the Steelers in the Cincinnati game, that's a 50-50 game regardless. That is a 50-50 game no matter what the records. And I know fans want to overlook some of these teams, and it's like, no, these are 50-50 games. Division games are 50-50 regardless of record. So the Steelers got to come out of them looking pretty, man. Extra Black brings up a good point. Asante is smaller than Dante Jackson, and he is not a good tackler. Yeah, uh, I mean, again, 5'10", 180 pounds, soaking wet. I'm sure that's an exaggerated weight. Maybe he put on a few pounds extra. Good to see him, man, during his time off here. Again, guys, the surgery is what really, really, really bugs me with him. Did you not know that? Oh, you're talking about the surgery. Devin Burkett. Always a good idea to add depth to a team if it's at all good deal slash price. Yeah. And again, guys, that's what the Steelers are doing right now, man. They're adding depth, and people are overlooking it because it's practice squad additions. Do you not think Marquez Valdez Scantling is going to see the field this year? You're fucking crazy, because he's going to. He's definitely going to. I'm telling you, he's going to. He has too good of a relationship with Aaron Rodgers. And let's go over the comment that Valdez Scantling said today when asked what kind of a pitch Rodgers gave to him. It was a joint effort, he said. He called and we talked about it a couple times. He said he'd love to have me here. Made his pitch. I gave Aaron a call and said, let's do it. That was from Marquez Valdez Scantling, guys. And we talk about MVS. He's had some big drops. Remember the big drops with the Chiefs and things of that nature? They wanted to freaking send him death threats over that in Kansas City. This guy almost was ran out of town there. But he's had some significant, really, really good moments. I went over his tape with the Saints, and I got to tell you this: when he was playing with Derek Carr before the Derek Carr injury, and you saw a lot of Spencer Rattler. Him and Derek Carr were forming a real connection, man. And it was becoming very, very lethal. MVS was still able to get up over the top on that secondary. He was still able to come and do those drag routes that I love. I love those drag routes. And what does Aaron Rodgers like to do? He likes to roll out there, and those drag routes really, really work well with MVS, and he's comfortable with him. And I really think that it could potentially, I'm not saying it will, but potential is there for some significant contributions from MVS here down the stretch. And wow, wouldn't it be cool? Like I said, man, you're looking into the Cincinnati game, for instance, or the Chicago game. All of a sudden, you throw an MVS out there. And man, maybe he just gives the Steelers offense that spark, that extra piece that they've been missing. Chances are what? No, probably doesn't happen, but man, the possibility's there. And that is what the Steelers are doing, guys. They are adding depth to ensure that they have people to pick from when injuries happen. It's not if injuries are going to happen, it is when injuries are going to happen. And the Steelers want significant pieces that they can pull from, guys that maybe have experience, guys that have tremendous promising potential. And let's talk about one of them that they brought into the practice squad and they sold from the Chiefs. A defensive lineman, Martin. He began his college career at Northern Alabama before transferring to Western Kentucky with the Hilltoppers. He recorded 62 tackles, 6 for loss with 4 sacks and 3 pass deflections. At his pro day, he ran a 5.36 40-yard dash. Let's talk about Martin and his player summary. Overall, Martin is an easy player to like, and his tape was pretty fun. He can stuff the run, but he is not a one-note guy. There's some energy and pass rush juice. Even if he's got to work on using his hands and developing his moves, he won't be heavily used in sub packages, but can rush out of the base. Sort of similar to Montravius Adams, Martin is a O shade in a 3-4-4-3 system that does more 2 gapping in than 1 gapping and want to run defense first. There aren't many guys of Martin's body type to compare to in the modern NFL, but I'll land on Jordan Phillips with a ceiling of a Michael Brockers type. I don't know where that quote come from, but whoever it is, give him credit. I don't know who it was, but that was a summary of a player that I read from Martin today. But again, the tweet from Aaron Wilson from the NFL at Steelers signing Broderick Martin off the Chiefs practice squad per a league source. He was drafted by the Detroit Lions at one point, ended up on the Chiefs practice squad. But when you're talking about promising potential, the size of Martin is really, really, really intriguing. And what the Steelers are trying to do defensively, and we've talked about this at nauseum, is what? They are trying to stop the run first. They are trying to stop the run, play zone, keep plays in front of them, and rush the passer. That's what they're trying to do, man. Get their hands up, block passes. Their scheme, their schematics, their theory behind their defense is really simplistic at this point, and that is exactly what they're trying to do. And adding a guy like him could potentially, again, the potential is there for a big time run stuffing type guy, a large body guy to fit in there with a Derek Harmon, Cameron Hayward, Keanu Benton type guy, a YA Black, adding some real beef inside of that Pittsburgh Steelers defense, allowing them to push the pocket back into the lap of an opposing quarterback, allowing them to come downhill and really blow up run lanes. You heard about the gapping and all that, that this guy's really just going to be able to, honestly, to put it simply, get in there and fill gaps. Let's be honest. His body size is huge. He's going to be able to get in there, use those big paws to move people around, and that's the hopes. But again, potential, and that's another move the Steelers are making in hopes of adding guys that could potentially be there if needed, and also continue to watch to develop them as they are on the practice squad to say to themselves, maybe this guy has developed here over the last several weeks to where we're comfortable putting him in a hat, giving him a helmet on Sundays. And that's what you're looking at for Martin now. You're looking at him with the injuries that they've had there. They've lost players in that defensive front, and don't be surprised if Martin ends up getting a helmet here before long. Daniel Warman back in the house. He says, it seems that the Steelers don't scout their next opponents. When they play my Bengals, they need to blitz. Our offensive line is weak at best. Yeah, and I think exactly what you saw from them, Daniel, Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts is what you're probably going to see deployed against the Bengals. They're going to want to keep Jamar Chase and company in front of them. They're not going to want to allow them to get beat deep. They're going to always keep them in front of them, and they're really going to try to rush the passer and continue to control the line of scrimmage. That's really what they're trying to do. And I think you're going to see more of that same game plan that you saw against the Colts. But, you know, Jonathan Taylor is far better than anybody the Bengals has in terms of the run game. So maybe their focus isn't as much on the run game, but shutting down the run is going to be priority one for sure. But maybe they put a little bit more emphasis on what you were talking about, blitzing and really applying the pressure to Joe Flacco to make him uncomfortable, because Joe Flacco in the pocket will eat you alive if you're not putting any pressure or hands in his face. And that's just the way it is, especially when you have dangerous targets like the Bengals have. All right, guys, make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing here to the show only on Mike Drop Sports Steel City Live. We appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Join the community, man. We're going to get to Extra Black here. Asante's last game against the Raiders was he was matched up against Devontae. 12 receptions, over 100 yards, missed tackles was just too small. And that would be a problem, no doubt, Extra Black, especially when you're going up some of these big body receivers in today's National Football League. The fused Atlas and Axis. They fused the Atlas and Axis. uh, I don't know. They had to fuse a specific vertebrae. I'd never heard them referred to as atlas and axis. I've never heard of that. I've heard I know vertebrae is C1, 2, 3, 4, 5. L1, 2, 3, whatever. I've heard of it that way. I don't know. And again, guys, I'm a lung guy. I do respiratory therapy, so I know lungs and things of that nature. I do know long bone injuries and things of that nature a good bit because certain long bone injuries have an effect on certain respiratory things. But when we talk about the spinal column, basically the cervical spine is where I'm really more keen and knowledgeable. Why? Because C3, 4, 5 keep you alive. Your respiratory drive to breathe, your ability to send signals to your brain, from your brain to your body in order to breathe. Your diaphragm needs that area in order to be able to respond to your neural drive to breathe. So, yeah, definitely I'm more knowledgeable about that. But yeah, I've never heard of Atlas and Axis. Daniel Warman says, I'm sure he has a cage in his spine to stabilize it. Maybe, Daniel. I know they confuse it without cages. You know what I mean? The fusion, sometimes they can bolt it up and things of that nature. I'm not exactly sure of the process, and I'm not going to pretend to. So I don't know. Maybe you're right, buddy. I hope he can be mobile, Daniel. I hope, because that's what he's going to have to be. LOL, if they fused Atlas and Axis, he would not be playing again. I don't know what Atlas and Axis is, Mark. You'll have to enlighten me, buddy. I'm sorry, but I see the Steelers going 3-6 in the next 9 games. That's from Daniel Warman. Um, you're looking at Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami, Detroit, Cleveland, and Baltimore. Um, I think Miami's a for sure win. I think they'll beat the Bengals the next time. I think they win against the Chargers here this week. I think they can beat Chicago. I think they'll split with Baltimore like they're going to do. I think with the Bengals. I think they beat Cleveland again for the second time because of the matchups. I think definitely favor the Steelers there. I think they lose to Detroit, and I think they lose to Buffalo. So I think they can win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they win 6 more games. That's what I think they win. That's what I think. I think they get 11 wins this year. That's how I see it playing out. I can't see 3-6. That's absolutely crazy for a team that never does that. You know what I mean? 3-6 is craziness. Yeah, they kind of. I can see why you say that though, Daniel, because you're looking at that slide that they had last year, that monumental losing streak at the end. But that was only 4 games. So you know, yeah, it would be hard pressed for me to ever see a Steelers team lose like 5 games in a row or something like that. I just never could see it. And that's even with Dumlin. Mike Tomlin, even at the helm, I could never see it. Devin Burkett, let me read his message. I didn't see what he said. The Steelers can hang with anyone in the league if we are firing on all cylinders. Most had us being blown out by the Colts, but we took it to them and got the W. It could have actually went the other way, man. At one point, that game was getting out of hand, and the Steelers allowed them to crawl back into it a little bit. But that game was getting out of hand for the Steelers. It was getting out of hand for the Colts, rather. They were getting blown out, to be honest. So, yeah, anything can happen any given day in this league. And that's why it's so hard to predict. And especially when I came up with the score the other day, I said 28-14 because I never in a million years expected it to get out of hand either way. But man, it almost did in favor of the Steelers. Let's keep going. Steelers salute. That's from First Property Investments. Well, welcome, First Property Investments. Thank you, man. Devin Burkett, we can beat the Chargers for sure. Bungholes, we should have already beat. Bills will be tough, and we can absolutely beat the Ratbirds in Pittsburgh and in Baltimore. Let's show this. We just had somebody become a member. Swagnificent, thank you for becoming a Mike Drop Sports member. It's 99 cents a month, guys. Yes, you don't get a tremendous amount of like super great perks or something for it. It's just a great way to support the work I do here at the channel. I always say we, but I'm the only one that puts the stuff on the channel. But when you support me, you support our community of fantastic football fans. And it's only 99 cents a month, and it really is a great way. You figure if you have 5,000 subscribers, man, everybody throws 99 cents a month in. That's a fantastic channel, and the amount of money we could put back into production would be crazy. And hey, goals, that'd be great one day to be able to do that. But you all have to realize too, YouTube takes a massive, massive cut of the money too I earn on YouTube. So I could earn 300 bucks and get 150 of it. It's just the way it goes. They take a significant amount, man. Oh, he's talking to Swag. You guys be good. I know you might go back and forth with the Bengals Steeler thing. Martin is not it. Detroit drafted him in the third round. They cut him the following year. He is big teddy bear. Um, the size is intriguing, and you may very well be right because he has, and you poached him off a practice squad from the Kansas City Chiefs. So maybe the Steelers can get that potential out. And I also want to emphasize this, guys. Just because a player doesn't work out in a certain organization, say we'll just use the Detroit Lions for instance, maybe he doesn't fit into what they do schematically there. Maybe he isn't able to do what they want him to do in terms of his skill set. The Chiefs maybe got him, and we're trying to figure out that role. But the Steelers were able to pluck him off that Chiefs practice squad. And now maybe, just maybe, on some weird chance, maybe he fits better into the Steelers schematically. And you talk about what the Steelers want to do, and you read the player profile, you might say to yourself, maybe he does fit into the Steelers scheme a little bit better. Maybe. And I'm not saying he does. And I trust your judgment because I haven't watched him play. But you know what I mean. That may be the case, and I always caution people when we talk about players coming in that maybe didn't have the best go around at a certain organization. Robert Road in the house. I am hoping for the best for our Steelers, but I don't have any big expectations. Hopefully, they surprise me again and again. Yeah, and I'm not putting a ton of expectations on them either, man. I agree with that, Robert. I'm just along for the ride. And let's talk about this, guys. I predict them right now to have about 11 wins to end this season. Is that some tremendous eye popping number? No. Is that going to put them at the top of the AFC conference? No. But will it give them a chance, a chip in a chair inside of the AFC conference playoffs? Absolutely. Is it good enough to win the AFC North? I think so. And I don't see any other team in the AFC North accumulating 11 wins at this point. You have the Baltimore Ravens, who already have, what, 5 or 6 losses? So I believe five. Yeah, I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled with either one of them. The Steelers have 3 losses. The Bengals have 6 losses. They dropped down to third inside of the division. The Browns, they're just fucking horrible. They have no prayer of winning the game. Yeah, that's a culture thing there. I truly believe that because they have fantastic players, man. Thanks again, man. Thanks again, Swagnificent. Swagnificent. I appreciate that, man. And I love your takes and get bro. Glad to be a part of the Mic Drop family. You definitely are, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that so very much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know a lot of people wouldn't be very thankful for 99 cents, but I am very grateful for 99 cents because I think that shows members or subscribers' commitment to that they enjoy our stuff and they enjoy talking football with all of us. And that really makes me happy when you guys enjoy, talking ball with me. That really humbles me and really makes me really excited and pumped up to come and talk ball with you. What are we waiting for? Sign Asante Samuel Jr. I talked about that. You'll have to go back at the top of the show, Aussie Tanks 6969, and I talked about that at great length. The spinal fusion surgery. You're gonna have to do some research on him. You might not be so thrilled about signing him either. Again, maybe it is. Maybe. I don't know what you said. What I said, Atlas and Axis. I don't know what those are. Mark says, think back to undergrad anatomy and physiology. The vagus nerve doesn't pass through this or any other vertebrae. I'm not sure, man. I'm drawing a blank. Again, I don't mess with bones too much, Mark. I have no clue. And I haven't taken anatomy and physiology in a long time. I've been out of college for a long time. So I'm not sure, man. You have to enlighten me. I brain fart on some things. We can talk lungs if you want to talk lungs and uh, the lung disease processes, things that affect the lungs. We'll talk about whatever pleural effusions, pleural friction rubs. We'll talk about pneumothoraxes, tension pneumothoraxes. We'll talk about emphysema. We'll talk about COPD. We'll talk about tuberculosis, cystic fibrosis, emphysema. We'll talk about those big floppy lungs all night. That's the only thing I know, and I'm confident in what I say. Vertebrae and bones. I'm just talking general, man, because I don't remember all that shit from anatomy and physiology. I remember more from cardio anatomy and physiology than regular basic A&P. What's up, Jonathan Stevens? Looking to put on a show in the Berg, holding all them picks? I hope, man. Hey, no problem, Swagnificent. No problem, man. Smash the like. First property investment. Listen to him. He says smash that like button. Absolutely, man. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Also, I did set a challenge, guys. We want to reach 100 likes. We used to all the time, and then we slowed down a little bit because Jason had to coach youth football. But when we were streaming in the other format, in the shorts view format, we would get over 100 likes pretty much every night and thousands of views every night. But when we switched over to this format, which is more professional and I can do more things and have more functions, that went down. So we got to set the challenge now. I need you guys to try to get the show up to 30 shares. Let's hit the hype button. There's a new feature with YouTube called the hype button. Let's hit the like and let's make sure we're subscribed if we're not already, guys. And also, just subscribing and liking the show is more than enough. You don't have to spend 99 cents at all to be part of the Mic Drop family, man. What's up, Oscar? How are you, man? Dotson and Green is a good example of that. Yeah. Devin Burkett, it can never hurt to add depth. Sometimes there are issues fans don't see. Things can change in a different environment. There are a few players who are too small that can play ball. Yeah, you look at Calvin Austin. But we also have to take into consideration also, Devin, when we talk about the size disadvantage of some of these players, you're looking at injuries. And Calvin Austin's had his fair share thus far. So, there are major concerns with guys that are undersized. You take him, for instance, Jalen Warren. He's an undersized guy in terms of his stature, in terms of height, but he's a real thick bowling ball type guy, and he can withstand that pounding. It just depends, man. But yeah, having that disadvantage in the size department, it is what it is. Do you think the Steelers should have signed Mike Hilton? I always love Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton's great, dude. I love Mike Hilton. With the 29th ranked offensive line in the past 12 years, not winning a playoff game in the past 9 years is the only reason Mike still has his job. Is because yeah, let's not go there, but we all know what it is with Mike. I get too much backlash, guys, when I talk about Mike Tomlin. Let's not even do that. Keep smashing the like button. We need 50 likes before the show ends. Absolutely, man. Thank you, Swagnificent. We definitely need 50. We want to reach that 100 goal every night. That'd be so awesome. But 50 is a great start, man. And I appreciate you lobbying for that. Devin also says, and guys, I'm going to try to get through all your comments. Again, if I don't get to them all, I apologize. We almost been on for 40 minutes, but you guys know what this show is about. And it's about you and getting your voice heard. And I try to do that. Yes, Jason adds his input, and I give you topics and things of that nature. And I explain things that are going on with the team as best I can to my knowledge. But this is all about you, and I want that to be the focus, man. Hey, also, my new headset should be here tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Friday. So hopefully it's better. If it isn't, it is what it is when we get the new computer. And I did start to look at motherboards for the computer on this one, what we were talking about last night. So it'll work good with that, but that won't be far off. So we'll be back to really good, high quality audio. We'll be back to more of a professional setting here once we get this computer going. Don't forget, when you like and subscribe, it helps the channel grow and reach out to others. It really does help the channel, and subscribing and liking YouTube is absolutely free. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate that, man. Yes, you were exactly right. Craig Werlow, there are at least 6 teams he is going to have meetings with. The Steelers are one of them. Yeah, but he is the last team, Craig. So maybe, just maybe, and I'm not ultra excited. Again, guys, These are just potential things. If he does, I'm cool with it. If he doesn't, I'm not going to be devastated. Swagnificent asks this: what's the deal with Caleb Johnson? I just think he's developing and growing, and you've seen him get reps here and there. Before the Colts game, I don't think you had seen him since the Minnesota Vikings game in terms of reps. I'm not sure exactly all his reps in the top of my head, but I think he's a guy that's in development, and I think that just because you're not seeing him a ton and hearing his name a ton, I don't think that that means anything for his future. I really liked him coming out of college. I thought it was a real steal when they were able to select him in round three. And I was excited about it. So we'll see what happens there. But in the meantime, I think they have two very competent backs that are excellent in the run game and inside of the pass game, and Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. You look at Jalen Warren, and he's one of the league's best running backs in terms of pass protection and blocking. I think he is a real deadly weapon out of the backfield. Kenneth Gainwell, likewise. I would like a little bit more from him in terms of pass pro, but out of the backfield, he's a real lethal weapon and he can run the football effectively. So right now, I'm okay with what they got going on, but we'll see. Yes, let's get to that 100, man. Robert Road, the Steelers have only had three head coaches since the start of 1969 season. Tomlin should have been replaced by now, but I don't think skin color has anything to do with it. Rooney's are loyal. I think the loyalty thing is pretty much the most significant factor in that, no doubt. And Robert brings up a good point. Since 1969, three head coaches. And I have said over the years here, especially the last several years, I think sometimes the Steelers with coaching and front office people are loyal to a fault. Sometimes with a player here and there, but not often. They'll get rid of a player when it's time, I believe. Sometimes they'll hold on to legends, Steeler legends, a little bit too long, but I think sometimes they're a little overly loyal at times, and I think that is an issue. Do I think skin color or something has anything to do with it? I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's not tops on the list, but the Roonies are the inventor of the Rooney Rule, and that has to be looked at. But again, guys, I'm not going to talk about it over and over again. We've said what we want with Mike Tomlin and why he's there. I'm sure Mike Tomlin's an excellent guy to go out and have a beer with. My problems with Mike Tomlin are this: I think situational football, he's terrible. I think in schematics, he's terrible. And I think, honestly, roster management, 9 times out of 10, he is absolutely terrible. Those are my big three pet peeves with Mike Tomlin. And add the fourth, his unwillingness to adapt and change. That is my biggest things. And none of those things are skin color. So my biggest pet peeves are those. Those things that I talk about every single year that never ever change. You look at Sunday in that game. The time management near the end of the first half was absolutely fucking dog shit. They should have come away with seven, and they should have had at least some opportunities to run some plays there. Instead, it was chaos there, and it didn't get done. And they burned 30 seconds off in between, I believe, two plays. So those types of things get you angry about Mike. If Mike would be a little bit more willing to change, I think the conversation be a little bit different. Yeah, I answered that one. Yeah, Ozzy. Robert says the Steelers don't trust Caleb with pass protection as much as the two vets. Probably not, because he's a rookie. You know what I mean? He's a rookie, so they're going to be definitely leery in that category, and that hinders him because you're putting him into one dimensional situations when he does come into the ball game. You know what I mean? So you never want to be a player out there stuck in a one dimensional situation. It just sets you up for failure. Roberta Campbell in the house. What's up, Roberta? I thought the offense played better than they have on a few weeks. Offense playing better than the young and growing together. They're young and growing together better with penalties. Plus, coaching was better, except the 4th and 1 calls. Yeah, I think they've definitely grown, Roberta. You look at Aaron Rodgers and his numbers so far this year. I think they're good, man. 17 touchdowns so far this season for Aaron Rodgers, over 1,600 yards passing thus far, I believe. I like what Aaron Rodgers has brought to the table. When's the last time a Steelers quarterback threw 17 touchdown passes in a fucking year, let alone through 8 games? Let's be honest, guys. Kenny Kittenmans couldn't reach 17 in 5 years, probably. Mitchell Trubisky probably couldn't reach 17 in 10 years. That's just the way it goes. If Cowher didn't step down because of his first wife's health, who knows how long he may have stayed around. The Steelers were not going to fire Cowher at the time that he stepped down. No, Bill Cowher stepped down because his wife Kay had skin cancer, and he wanted to be with her, and that's very admirable, and I appreciate him as a man. Because I can tell you this: if something happened to my wife in that kind of way, I would quit everything, drop everything. Money don't matter, nothing matters, and I would be there. And I think Bill Cowher did a very, very fine job at that. Sorry, guys, I just dropped my pen, and I use that to jot down things, and I don't want to lose it because you guys bring up interesting things sometimes that I see that I don't talk about right off the bat, that I see in the chat. And as I'm talking to you, sometimes I'm jotting stuff down here. So, yeah. Roberta says, yeah, I feel Rodgers is playing well. Yeah, I think he's definitely done some nice things. Now we need to get that offensive line to continue to grow, guys. And we talked about what we want to see from this offense the other night. And again, that's more rhythmic passing from the pocket. And we need to see those things where you're getting those routes across the middle, those routes that are choice routes. That's what you're looking for out of this offense now. That's the next level that they need to start hitting in terms of the pass game. They need to start getting those choice routes to where the wide receiver adapts to what Aaron Rodgers is doing back there and moves with him, gives him those open targets. When he does get outside of the pocket to be able to keep his eyes down the field and deliver the football. And you saw some of that Sunday in the short passing game to where players weren't on the same page as Aaron in terms of timing and rhythm in the pass game when they weren't looking and the ball was already coming. And by the time they turned around, they weren't going to be able to catch it because they were not in rhythm. And that's an issue. And that's got to be the next step in the maturation of this Pittsburgh Steelers offense moving forward here into the 2025 season. Do we continue to run this jumbo extra lineman on the field in the running game? That's from Swagnificent. And that's going to depend a lot too, Swag, on the availability of Isaac Seumalo. Because when Isaac Seumalo is out, you are moving Spencer Anderson now into the starting guard, into the starting left guard position. So, who do you utilize in that extra lineman, that jumbo heavy package? I believe it'll just be more tight ends. I still believe they'll run those packages. Darnell Washington will be back into the more blocking role as what Spencer was doing. You'll probably see a little bit more Pat Fryermuth now or Jonnu Smith. If Spencer Anderson is pulled back into the starting role. And again, that's all going to be ultra dependent on Isaac Seumalo and his health here moving forward. Roberta Campbell, Rogers is actually better in every way than Ben. I thought he would be on and off the field. Uh, I like Aaron. I like Ben too, man. Ben's a Steeler legend, and this is Ben Roethlisberger's franchise. It's not Aaron Rodgers' franchise, no doubt about it. Ben Roethlisberger earned his stripes here in the city of Pittsburgh. Two-time Super Bowl champion, three-time Super Bowl appearances, three Super Bowl appearances, many AFC championship games, playoff games, records broken. Ben Roethlisberger is a Steel City legend. And the way young Ben Roethlisberger played football was second to none and idolized by many, man. A lot of people wish they could have played like Ben Roethlisberger, but I definitely admire Ben. He's one of my all-time favorite Steelers. I know his attitude sometimes is shit, but you know what? It is what it is. He's a Steeler legend. He's brought 2 Lombardi trophies to the city of Pittsburgh, building on that legacy of Pittsburgh football, adding the 6th Lombardi to the trophy case, and that's a special thing, man. 5 and 6 he added to that trophy case, and he's forever a Steeler and forever cemented in Steeler lore, man. So yes, Aaron Rodgers could potentially add to that. Potentially, Aaron Rodgers does guide to the Pittsburgh Steelers to hoist the Lombardi Trophy here at the end of the 2025-2026 season. And we see another Steeler legend born. Maybe he comes back if the team's that exciting and tries to run it back one more time. You never know. You never know. Maybe he goes down in Steeler history with a Super Bowl or two or a couple appearances. Time will tell, man. Enjoy the ride, my friends. But I really like what Aaron Rodgers is doing, and I'm really excited to see how moving forward how this all goes. Robert Rhodes says, crazy that Mitch Trubisky actually threw 6 touchdown passes in one game when he was with the Bears. He was more likely to throw 6 interceptions in a game when he played for the Steelers. Hey, man, dude, you ain't lying there. I didn't even know he threw 6 touchdown passes with the Bears. Because that's a shock to me. That's a shock. All right, guys, any other questions? Make sure you throw it in there real fast because we are about to wind it down here on Steel City Live. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on Mike Drop Sports. We appreciate it. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. We truly, truly, truly appreciate that when you do. And don't forget, memberships are 99 cents a month. And you can find 99 cents in your couch cushions. If you have the ability to throw 99 cents in there, go ahead. That is an excellent way to support us. My eyes are itching like hell from these lights. These lights are so bright, guys. It's like an inferno. And the lights in my eyes like make my eyes like glossy. Definitely. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Like I said, your passion makes it look easy. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Daniel. Thank you for being a friend of the show, my friend. A damn good show. Thank you, Robert. Swagnificent. I'm calling it. AR number 8 has beat every team except for one. I see him getting his revenge on this particular team in the Super Bowl. And that, my friends, is the Green Bay Packers. So never know, Swag. Never know. Never know, man. Definitely is something exciting to take into consideration, no doubt about it. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, we're going to start winding it down. So I will leave you with one of the best intro outros in the game. I swear, I love our intro. I love our theme song here for Steel City Live, our theme for Mike Drop Sports. Again, always appreciate J Hook for making that original music, man. No copyrights or nothing like that. It's original to Mike Drop Sports, and we are very thankful for it. And I think it's one of the best out there. I really, really do. I like the beat. I think it gets you fired up, and the video that goes along with it is just Steeler history. And what better than Steeler history to get you fired up? So until tomorrow, my friends, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Peace.
Power takes an approach as a coach.
Let's go. Let's go. It's a field back block, and that's
the guy that rolls his body around. Mike Drop Sports. Steel City.